Lucas Oil Stadium, we're ready for kickoff. As you take a look at the series history, Ohio State leads the series, which dates back to 1912. And the Buckeyes have won 8 of the last 9. Michigan State will receive. Ohio State winning the toss, deferring. So for Ohio State, Drew Basil will kick it away. And back deep for the Spartans, Kyler Ellsworth and R.J. Shelton. Ohio State, winners of 24 in a row. Michigan State, 11-1, undefeated in Big Ten play. This is for the Big Ten championship, folks, and we're underway from Indy. And this will be Shelton. Gets to the 15, the 20, and Shelton finally out of bounds as he crosses the 25-yard line. So here are tonight's Jared players to watch, brought to you by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry.
Last time Michigan State was here, Jeremy Langford was a cornerback, 7 straight 100-yard games. Tony Lippett, the go-to wide receiver lately for Michigan State. Ryan Shazier, 50 tackles in his last 3 games, and Bradley Roby was an All-American player last year. Ohio State needs him to play to that level this evening.
First down and 10 at the 30-yard line for the Spartans. And they hand it off. Here's Jeremy Langford. And Langford will pick up a couple. Noah Spence with the tackle. Your quarterback, Connor Cook, 6'4", 218, sophomore from Hinckley, Ohio. He's 10-1 as a starter.
I love how you mentioned Hinckley, Ohio. His father played tight end at Indiana, so he grew up in Ohio, not an Ohio State fan. But he says all the kids he grew up with, they're all Buckeyes fans, and he's heard from them this week.
Second down and 8 at the 32. Cook will throw on second down with time over the middle and incomplete. Closest receiver to the football, Benny Fowler, the senior from Detroit Country Day High School. And that brings up third down and 8. Michigan State was 0 for 8 on third downs last week against Minnesota. They did win the game.
And Ohio State has 6 defensive backs on the field. Look for 1 or 2 of them to bring pressure instead of dropping into coverage.
Spartans beating the Gophers 14-3, third and 8. At the 32, they need to go to the 40-yard line for first down out of the shotgun. Cook lofting it up in the air, incomplete, and a late flag throw. McGarrett Kings, the intended receiver, looks like he was bumped late, and pass interference, and that's Duran Grant, the junior from Akron.
Pass interference. Defense, number 12. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
And it's the correct call, because once the ball's in the air, you can't put your hands on the receiver. Ball was in the air, and Grant put his hands out late to chuck the wide receiver, and once he did that, the officials had no choice but to put a flag on the ground.
Judged on what happened last week against Michigan in Ann Arbor, how do you want to attack this Ohio State defense that gave up 41 points?
You want to check them and see if they're going to be susceptible to what Michigan did. A lot of misdirection, screens, and then finding the receivers downfield. Cook will have to be as effective throwing the ball and precise as Devin Gardner was.
And they'll hand it off to Langford straight ahead. Langford bounces it outside and is tracked down by the All-America, Bradley Roby, the junior. But you might as well say he's a senior. He's already decided to go to the NFL next year.
Watch out here. That's just Roby reading his keys, sees that there's no threat for pass, stays outside, and does an excellent job of coming upfield and cutting Langford down before he can get his momentum moving forward. Well played on the corner by Bradley Roby.
Roby, 63 tackles, 3 picks this year. He's broken up a number of passes, third in the Big Ten. Second and 10 at the 47. Here's Cook under pressure, drops it off. It's a screen. Langford trying to get outside and does, and gets close to the first down. He threw on the afterburners when he saw that first down marker and picks it up. A gain of 13. Pendleton, Langford lining up for the Spartans. Here's the play fake. Screen on the far side. Kings. And he's wrapped up and taken down. C.J. Barnett says no. A gain of 1.
This is well read. Look to the right, the top of your screen. Barnett will flash coming inside out. An open field tackle, the toughest one in football, and Barnett gets it done and gets the receiver on the ground quickly.
Second down and 9 at the 39. Twins at the bottom of your screen for Michigan State. Connor Cook in the shotgun. He's poised. Cook handing the ball off to Langford, and he's wrapped up and knocked backwards. Terrific defense. Joshua Perry. Spartans need to go to the Ohio State 30 for first down. Empty backfield for Connor Cook. He'll sprint out of the pocket, looking. Cook fires. Ball caught. And this is Tony Lippett, but I don't know if he has enough for the first down. It'll be depending on the spot.
Lippett is number 14 in the slot, just works to the outer edges and is able to push off a little bit on Tyvis Powell and create space and make the catch near the first down marker.
So on fourth down and short, Michigan State will go for it.
Should not surprise you with Mark D'Antonio. Let's see if he wants to go long count early and see if he can pick up a cheap one from Ohio State jumping.
Jeremy Langford, the single setback. And Cook pushes it forward and picks up the first down. Connor Cook has great size. He's 6'4", 218 pounds. First down and 10 of the 29. Opening drive for Michigan State. Cook, play action fake. In trouble and goes down. Joey Bosa. He's a true freshman, folks, from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He wasn't afraid to play in the cold.
And not only that, how about a kid who's coming in 6'6", 275. Did you see him stay on his feet, not allow the quarterback to elude him, and then look at the violent hands that he uses to reach out and snatch Connor Cook and put him on the ground. Watch Cook start to make the move. Look at the hands. You're not going anywhere, young man. Puts him down. Joey Bosa, true freshman, his 9th start of the season.
So a loss of 8 yards on the sack. 40 sacks on the season for Ohio State. Second and 18 at the 37. Here's Cook. Drops it off. Langford makes the first man miss, looking for a crease, and he won't get it. Terrific pursuit. Noah Spence finally brings him down.
Partner, have you noticed an early theme to what Michigan State's trying to do in the passing game? Watch Langford try to set up another screen. By my count, this is the 3rd one already on this drive. And Roby forces the play. He missed the tackle. But sometimes when you miss, what you're hoping for is to spill the play to other people. And that's exactly what he does. He misses, but everyone else closes in and puts him down.
11th play of the drive, the opening drive for Michigan State that started at the 30. They're faced with a 3rd and 19 at the 38. They need to get inside the 20-yard line. Here's Cook. He'll loft it up the sideline and a flag. Wow, Langford the intended receiver. And Langford got drilled. And he's not happy about it.
Flag right of your screen. Shazier puts the big hit on Langford. And while he's happy about the hit, guess what? He just cost his team another first down. And Langford's got to have more poise than that. Take the hit, go back to the huddle.
Pass interference. Defense, number 2. Spot foul. Automatic first down.
So a lot of time being eaten up. 8:53 remaining in the first.
Exactly what Michigan State wants to do. Possess the ball and keep Ohio State's offense on the sidelines.
2nd and 7 to the 23. Out of the gun. Cook will float one up toward the far sideline and incomplete. Lippett, the intended receiver. Nice coverage there by Duran Grant.
It's a good throw, too, by Cook. Even though they didn't connect, if a defensive back's back is to you as a quarterback, and he's not seeing you at all and seeing the ball, guess what? Your receiver's open. He's trying to drop it in the bucket. Grant doesn't see it at all. That's really a well-thrown ball. I'd like to see Lippett make a little bit better play on it. He can't throw it too much better than that.
13th play of the drive that started at the 30. Remember, this is the opening drive for Michigan State. 3rd and 7 to the 23. Twins on both sides of the ball. Cook underneath and incomplete. Benny Fowler ran a slant pattern as Connor Cook went through his progressions. And now that'll force the Spartans to attempt a field goal.
And he ran through a thicket of defenders there, too. Shazier underneath, Roby over the top. Shazier made a play on the football underneath, and then Roby was there to help break it up downfield.
So that brings on Michael Geiger, who's made 10 field goals in a row. His career long 49 yards versus Iowa. This one from 40 yards away. Good snap, clean hold, and good. So Michigan State holds the ball and scores on their opening drive. 8:31 to play in the first quarter of the Big Ten Championship. Spartans up 3-zip. Will kick it away for the Spartans. Jordan Hall and Dontre Wilson are back deep. Michigan State up 3-zip after going on a 14-play drive covering 47 yards. They ate up 6 minutes and 29 seconds. Muma with the strong leg into the end zone. And the Buckeyes will take a knee. Dontre Wilson. So now let's take a look at our Jared players to watch.
Well, for Ohio State, Carlos Hyde sets the tone with his inside running, but Devin Smith out wide is the dagger when they want to throw it deep. Max Bullough is a tackling machine inside, and Shalik Calhoun was voted the Big Ten's Defensive Lineman of the Year. Creates a lot of push back towards the quarterback.
So a first down and 10 at the 25 for Braxton Miller, the quarterback of the Buckeyes. And he'll hand it off on first down. Carlos Hyde slashing through the hole. And he gets to the 31. Twan Jones with the tackle after a 6-yard pickup. And a look at the great Braxton Miller.
This year, truly a quarterback, not just an athlete running around back there.
Second down and 4 at the 31. They'll swing it out. Here's Hyde. Catches it, gets his shoulder squared, and he is upended by Trey Waynes. Nice open field tackle. And it's a gain of about a yard.
Very aggressive play by Waynes all the way at the top. Reads the coverage. He's covering, and then he comes up after he knows the ball's been delivered to Hyde and aggressively goes low to cut down the 230-pound running back.
So third down and 2 at the 23, at the 33 for Ohio State. Empty backfield. Miller wasn't ready for the snap. He has it. And he looked for Hyde. Ohio State misfiring.
And you nailed it. Watch him walking up. This snap came before Braxton Miller was ready for it. And now it's thrown off his timing. He panics a little back there after the ball comes to him on the snap that wasn't the snap count. And now he just pretty much gets rid of it. And he's inaccurate throwing the football. And Michigan State wins the first battle of strength versus strength tonight.
3 and out for Ohio State. Cameron Johnson, the 21-year-old former Australian rules football player, will punt it from the 18. High snap handle. And he delivers a beautiful punt. McGarrett King signaling for the fair catch and has it inside his own 20. A 48-yard punt for Ohio State. But the Spartans all
was at Notre Dame, and they dispute that one. But they've won 8 straight games since then and have the #1 defense in the country led by that man, head coach Mark D'Antonio.
Coach D'Antonio, former defensive coordinator at Ohio State. He's 1-5 though as a head coach against his former team. 1-3 while at Michigan State. 0-2 at Cincinnati. He lost to Urban Meyer 17-16 in East Lansing a year ago. First down and 10 of the 20. Here's Cook, delayed handoff. Langford trying to squeeze through. He'll pick up 2 yards. Now remember, Michigan State was 6th in Division I in time of possession this year, holding the ball 33.5 minutes a game. On their first drive tonight, they held it for 6.5 minutes.
No, the irony of that is, in their last game against Minnesota, that before they got here, Minnesota held the ball almost 40 minutes against them. And still, Michigan State found a way to win. But that formula you just described is what Michigan State wants to do tonight. Hold the football, keep Ohio State's offense on the sidelines, and pound it.
And they'll hand it to Langford again, running left. Langford with the blocker, and he'll stumble forward. And Langford crosses the 30-yard line. Noah Spence tripped him up.
See where they mark it, because he ended up bouncing kind of past that marker. So it's going to bring up 3rd and short.
They'll need a body yard.
They bring in Andrew Gleichert, number 92, as an extra tight end and big body blocker.
3rd down and 1 at the 29. There's Gleichert. Langford, the deep back. And they'll give it to him. He picks up the first down and more as he spins and keeps his feet churning. First down, Michigan State. An 8-yard gain on 3rd and 1. C.J. Barnett with the tackle.
Power all over here. Gleichert 92. Also number 94 is Michael Dennis. And there's Fonoti, their offensive tackle. Dennis is listed as an extra tight end. How about these dimensions? 6'7", 299. That's a tackle wearing an eligible number, and they went to that power side and picked up the first down.
From the 37, first down. And it's a movement on the right side. Looks like it's the right guard, Dan France.
Full start. Offense. Number 59. 5-yard penalty. First down.
14th different Spartan to compile a 1,000-yard season. And he runs it again. Great balance, stays on his feet, but is wrapped up and taken down by Duran Grant. And that's a loss.
As this game is unfolded, what I'm seeing is Ohio State doing a good job of winning first and second down, but failing on third down. Twice because of penalties, they handed first downs to Michigan State. They've got to find a way to parlay the winning first and second down on this situation. First down was a penalty that helped them. They've got to parlay that into getting off the field.
Second down and 16 at the 31. Here's Cook over the middle and caught by his tight end, Josiah Price, the redshirt freshman from Greentown, Indiana. And he gains 12.
And that's a good job of picking up yardage to make third down something that you feel confident about getting. It's not that 3rd and 7 or more, that 3rd and long. You've got 3rd and what we often call manageable.
So 3rd down and 4 at the 43. They send 3 receivers to the top of your screen. Cook will check down to Langford. Langford trying to get the first down on extra effort, but Roby comes out of nowhere and lays him out. Shazier there first.
Exactly right, partner. Ryan Shazier, outside linebacker, played this as if he were a strong safety. Getting out into coverage, setting up, making Langford chop his feet so he can't get forward momentum, and holding it up enough that Shazier can make a play, and so can the rest of the defense.
So Mike Sadler will punt it away. Philly Brown back deep inside his own 15. And Sadler, high hanger. And Brown with the fair catch at the 14-yard line. Spot that we've ever seen in college football history. As Ohio State runs the ball, they get to the 20-yard line.
Yeah, it ranks up there with the greatest finishes ever and is pertinent for tonight because Auburn has won the SEC championship. Anyone who thinks the SEC deserves a shot will say, hey, they deserve it over Ohio State if they win tonight.
Here's Carlos Hyde running. He'll stumble forward and pick up the first down.
Well, I don't happen to agree with that, but that's for another time. But here's Ohio State. The first drive, Gus, 3 and out. That was the first 3 and out on their first drive of the game all season for Ohio State. And Michigan State has bled this clock down to less than 3 minutes in the first quarter. Ohio State, last time they were scoreless, was last season against Penn State in the first quarter.
First down and 10 at the 29-yard line. Second drive for Ohio State. Miller pulls it out, sprints out of the pocket, throws on the run, and he's got Philly Brown. Buckeyes wanted a flag, and they got it.
There is no foul on the play for a personal foul. The runner was still in bounds. The play results in a first down.
It's a good job by the officiating crew getting together and getting it right. Watch Brown run the out route here, and he gets hit right in stride by Miller. Well thrown football. Dances on the sideline, still in bounds when the first contact from Michigan State occurs. See him tiptoeing, giving that little juke step, stayed in bounds before the first contact.
Brown has a small stress fracture in his leg, which has limited his catches last couple of weeks. Now Miller on course with the receiver. And Brown had it in his hands. He just couldn't bring it down. Corey Brown, guarded by Isaiah Lewis. He had the step.
Gotta like what Tom Herman, the offense coordinator, dialed up. He got a matchup he loved. Wide receiver Corey Brown against strong safety Isaiah Lewis. And the ball was thrown a little bit short, which meant Brown had to break stride to try and come back and get it. That brought Lewis into the play and allowed him to make it a play on the football as it got to Corey Brown.
As you take a look at the time of possession, Michigan State over 10 minutes. 2nd and 10 now for the Buckeyes at their own 39. And Braxton Miller runs it. And Braxton Miller is dropped immediately. Isaiah Lewis, the senior from Indianapolis, with the tackle.
Just watch the interior. There's going to be a fake handoff to Dontre Wilson, and then Braxton Miller's trying to come up the middle. And Lewis just hides behind the defensive front and then emerges and swoops on Braxton Miller and drops him.
Mark D'Antonio will take it. 3rd down and 9 at the 40-yard line. Here's Miller to throw. Miller in trouble. Braxton Miller sacked at the 35. Ed Davis getting to the football.
This is why the ball isn't thrown by Braxton Miller. Look at the coverage. Denard 31 outside. Denikos Allen underneath 28. 26 R.J. Williamson. Isaiah Lewis on the other side. Nowhere to go with the ball. But watch here. They form a wall right there. And Max Bulla, number 40, is also tracking Braxton Miller. Nowhere to run.
Johnston punting from the 21. McGarrett King's back at his own 22. Here's Kings backpedaling. And Kings hit before he could catch the football. That's a flag going against the Buckeyes.
In fact, Devin Smith, the wide receiver, playing special teams as the gunner, got there way too early.
Kick catch interference. Number 41 of the kicking team. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. 1st down.
Well, really, it was Devin Smith, number 9. They ended up fingering Haynes, the snapper, but it really wasn't his. Bryce Haynes ended up getting called. Look at Urban Meyer. Okay, guys, we got to get rid of these penalties. And Michigan State gets to capitalize with better field position.
And this is the first time Ohio State has had to play a game following their emotional rivalry game with Michigan.
First time since 1942. The Iowa Seahawks was the last time they had to do that.
Here's a handoff. Not a lot of room. That'll take us to the end of the quarter. Nick Hill running. Noah Spence drops him. And that's the end of the first quarter with the score. Michigan State through. For the first time this season, Ohio State shut out in the first quarter as Michigan State takes over.
Last time previously was against Penn State last season in late October.
2nd down and 14 at the 28. Nick Hill in at running back for the Spartans, number 20. Cook. And Cook looking. Caught! Mumphrey down the sideline. Sparty's got 6. 72 yards.
This is a well-thrown football. Watch the route from Mumphrey. He's going to break here, but watch how Connor Cook has to feather this football over the top of Pitt Brown and into the arms of Mumphrey. Brown gambles coming underneath, doesn't get the football. Mumphrey concentrates and carries it the distance.
Keith Mumphrey, a junior from Vienna, Georgia. He backs up Benny Fowler. Mumphrey with his 16th catch of the season. Extra point up and good.
Michigan State has beaten an undefeated, highly ranked Ohio State team 3 times in the past. 1972, Ohio State was ranked 5th. In 74, the Buckeyes were 1st, and Michigan State got them. And then in 1998, again, top-ranked Ohio State loses to unranked Michigan State. And this is the largest deficit of the season for Ohio State. Trail 23-13 in Northwestern. They end up winning by 10, down 10 early here to Michigan State.
But a different scenario for the Buckeyes, taking on the #1 defense in the country. And to be totally honest, Michigan State has knocked Ohio State off their offensive square to start this game. Let's see if they can regain it on this possession. This ball sent into the end zone for a touchback. Buckeyes will have it at the 25. First down and 10 to the 25 for Braxton Miller and this Ohio State offense. Here's Miller, low snap, Hyde, and Hyde tracked down and taken down right at the line of scrimmage. Shalik Calhoun, first man to him. Curtis Drummond also in on the play, and Calhoun is down.
How about the play Calhoun made, though? I mean, defensive end running to the flat where Carlos Hyde's catching the football and making the play. Look at the big fella.
So while Calhoun is down, we'll take a quick timeout. Michigan State leading 10-0 over the #2 team in the nation. This ball caught. Philly Brown, hesitation, and he'll get toward the first down and pick it up. Now let's go downstairs to Erin Andrews.
Gus, thanks so much. Let me let you know what's going on down here with the Buckeyes offense. Tom Herman had told me during the week the #1 thing this team needed to remember was patience. You can't get frustrated with 3-yard, 4-yard runs. You have to block better, and that's exactly what they've been screaming to this offense. A guy who is frustrated, offensive guard senior Marcus Hall, who's still on the sidelines. Guys, remember, he let that gesture fly in the Michigan game. We still don't know how much longer Urban will keep him out of this game.
All right, thank you very much, Aaron. First and 10 at the 35. Miller elects to run the football. He's got some running room, gets outside, picks up the first down and more. So Braxton Miller goes down. And so far, Ohio State, 12 plays, 6 of them less than 5 yards. But Miller picks up a nice chunk here.
And he was close to breaking this even bigger. Look at him get to the outside here. And if this tackle isn't made right there, he gets to the corner. To follow up on what Aaron said, Michigan State is going to cut down the number of possessions Ohio State's going to have tonight. That's why Tom Herman was telling his team, don't press, have patience. You won't get the same number of plays.
Miller handing it off. Hyde. And that run by Braxton Miller prior to the Carlos Hyde run, that was just the 20th rush of 10 or more yards against the Michigan State defense this year. That's fewest in the nation.
Tells you how tough it is to get through the first wave, and then if you do, they close down quickly, rally to the football, and put people down. It's good to see Shalik Calhoun up and back on the field.
Second down and 9 for Ohio State. At the 47, down by 10. Here's Braxton Miller, and he's gobbled up. Miller trying to squeeze through the hole, but unable to get there. Damon Knox and Danico Sallin combining on the tackle.
If Ohio State elects to throw the ball here, let's see if they're going to start to change up strategy a little bit. Because when they throw the ball out wide, as you see Michigan State really limit you on third down. If you're throwing it wide, you're throwing against the lockdown corners. Denard 31 and Wayne's 15. You have better opportunities working against the safeties and linebackers with slot receivers or tight ends.
Third down and 7 at the 49. Ohio State 0 for 2 on conversions. Here's Braxton Miller under pressure. Lost it. He'll recover the football, but Bulla and Ed Davis squeezing him, and that's a second sack of the night for the Spartans.
Pat Narduzzi elects to bring pressure. Watch the wave coming at him. Hyde picks up the outside guy, but Bulla comes inside of him and forces the play against Miller. See, he's unblocked. He pops the ball free. Then Ed Davis is there to help him. Miller fortunate to fall on the football. Hyde picked up 1. Couldn't pick up 2.
Remember, Michigan State is the #1 defense in the nation, and they're showing it so far in the first half. Cameron Johnson will punt it away inside the 20. McGarrett Kings back deep. Beautiful high spiraling punt. Kings will give it a shot. Breaks the first tackle. Still on his feet. Dancing. And he'll cross the 30 and get close to the 35.
See how the bench is now facing the crowd? It's either to keep their focus away from the field for the defense or to help absorb some of the energy. They're right in front of a Michigan State section.
And he'll hand it off. Langford running left. He'll spin. And Langford crossing the 35. Let's go downstairs to Christina Pink.
Well, this Michigan State defense certainly been successful tonight, but there is a bit of concern that the opponent, Ohio State, can see their boards and see some of the adjustments and see their coaches talking right now. So right now, that is why they flip the benches around to see if that they can stave that off. But right so far, we're seeing that their defense has been successful, but there is concern that these guys are getting a little bit of a peek here.
Well, it's interesting. If you face that direction, you're actually showing the board towards the Ohio State sideline.
Second down and 5. Langford again. Hop forward and across the 40. Mark D'Antonio.
You know who's playing well in this game early? Is the quarterback, Connor Cook. Not just the throw, but the poise in the pocket. He's had some pressure in his face. I think he's going to need to use his legs at some point as a pressure release, but it hasn't been enough pressure to make him do that. He stood tall in the pocket and delivered the ball well downfield.
Solid numbers for Cook thus far. 7 of 10, 106 yards and a touchdown to Mumphrey. Third down and short from the 41. And the Spartans take a timeout. Don't forget, coming up, it's the Pizza Hut halftime. Our guys, there's Eddie George. Mumphrey again. First down, Spartans. And they say it's a catch.
Connor Cook is playing a terrific game. This is on the run. Look at this throw. And look at Mumphrey put a foot down. Now the question would be, did that first foot come down in the white or in the green? See the toe? That's a tough one, because where he is, that could be taken. They may take a look at this one.
The previous play is under further review. The ruling on the field was a completed pass at the sideline. After further review, the ruling on the field stands as called. First down.
Thank you very much, Mike Pereira. Urban Meyer pacing the Ohio State sideline.
And right here, let's see if Michigan State, Mark D'Antonio, decide to take a big strike. Excellent field position. They're moving the ball well. They have them a little off balance. This might be a time to take a shot.
First down and 10 at the Ohio State 33. Cook dropping back deep. He'll take that shot. Lip it! Touchdown, Spartans! Great call, Charles Davis. They heard you in East Lansing, and Mark D'Antonio cracks a smile. Michigan State up big on the #2 team in America.
Lippett runs a little out and up, and he's running against C.J. Barnett, who is a safety. Again, a good matchup when you're able to isolate your wide receiver on a safety. And Lippett in the end zone for the score.
Michael Geiger, extra point up and good. And how about this, America? 9:01 to go in the second quarter of the Big Ten championship game. And the Michigan State Spartans are smacking around the Buckeyes. Tigers are somewhere watching this game. And I have a feeling, Charles Davis,
they're liking what they're seeing, don't they? But remember, this is Ohio State. Explosive as heck on offense. Everything's going the way Michigan State wants it. But they can't start celebrating too early.
9:01 to play. And this is Dontre Wilson bringing it out of the end zone. And Wilson gets to the 15.
Let's see if Ohio State changes strategy and moves their passing game inside to the slots.
Hyde in motion out of the backfield. Braxton Miller scrambling. Miller, he'll take it himself. Wants a block, has a seam. Miller still running. Braxton Miller, oh my God, what a move. And Miller down at the 35. 48 yards. Braxton Miller says, I guess I better do it myself.
And watch the improvement of Braxton Miller. Last year it was one read and go. Now still directing, orchestrating, eyes downfield. Once he made up his mind, he directed Carlos Hyde to block. And then he went downfield. Look at Evan Spencer, number 6, continuing to block and aid his quarterback.
First down and 10 at the 34. Let's see if this puts some life in this Ohio State team. Philly Brown breaks 2 tackles. Gets up the sideline, close to a first down.
Gus, you go back to the Cal game early in the season. And what did Urban Meyer tell us he needed more from his wide receivers? More yards after the catch. Break tackles, get downfield. Exactly what he was looking for. Philly Brown just gave him.
Second down and 7 at the Michigan State 20. Miller drops back, throws in the end zone. Touchdown, Ohio State. Philly Brown.
Well-conceived play. You're going to have 2 choices. Brown in here and Hyde swinging. And he's got his choices, and he throws that ball well. Over the top of the defenders, back shoulder, and how about Brown's body control to haul it in?
6:26 to go, second quarter. Drew Basil in for the extra point. And it's good. 5 plays covering 84 yards. 17-7. Braxton Miller orchestrating a terrific drive for Ohio State to get the Buckeyes on the board. Ellsworth and Shelton back deep. This is Shelton inside his own 5. And he'll get to the 21 before being wrestled down. So let's see how this Ohio State defense responds now that Braxton Miller has led them to their first score of the game. And it's responding well. How about that? Joey Bosa again. Is kicking ball. A true freshman. Getting in the backfield another time. Second down and 15 after the 5-yard loss at the 17-yard line. Cook sets up in the pocket, throws and completes. Lippett again, first down. And I tell you what, Connor Cook has been really calm and cool in the pocket.
Watch Lippett to the top, up on your screen, number 14, works inside, then works back to the outside again. And what a well-thrown ball to prove your point there, Gus. Connor Cook right now is extremely accurate and confident throwing the football. Offensive line's giving him time, and he's delivering.
11 of 14, 182 yards and 2 touchdowns already. Cook will hand it off to Langford. He'll pick his way through the hole and finally lean forward. And that is a gain of 3 yards on the play. Philly Brown, the return man for Ohio State at the 17-yard line. As Mike Sadler sends it away, left-footed punter, this one off the side of his foot. Picked up, Brown at the 20. Brown still running at the 30 and goes down at the 31. A 42-yard punt and an 11-yard return. First down at the 31 for the Buckeyes. Here's Braxton Miller. He'll decide to run it with a huge opening at the 40. Miller still going, gets to midfield, and finally out of bounds inside Spartan territory. That's a 21-yard gain for Braxton Miller. Trey Wayne stops him.
The strategy for Michigan State is capture, not kill. In other words, you don't want to miss Braxton Miller, but they didn't close down the back gate right here, and Braxton Miller finds it. And once he sees it, he takes off and goes. The idea is to keep him hemmed in and not necessarily take the big shots at him in the pocket that he might slip.
First down and 10 at the 48 for Miller. And a quick strike, Philly Brown, incomplete. That one thrown low. But you can just feel Braxton Miller saying to himself, okay, enough is enough. It's time for me to take over the game. Second and 10 at the 48 of Michigan State. Braxton Miller looking. Miller all day to throw it. Miller finally fires it toward the far side. Incomplete. Carlos Hyde, closest man to the football. Shalik Calhoun with some late pressure on Braxton Miller.
Coverage was nice downfield for Michigan State. This is why Braxton Miller couldn't get rid of the football. And he's got to be careful throwing it late like this and high to his receiver Hyde. because he hangs him out. He could have subjected him to a big hit if he.
McGarrett King's back deep, standing at the 10. As Cameron Johnson prepares to send this one away from the 41. End over end. Darren Bennett, Aussie kick. And it's fair caught at the 12. Mike Sattler punting out of his own end zone. Philly Brown back deep at midfield. Sattler gets it away. Wobbly kick. Brown lets it take a bounce. And it takes a Michigan State bounce. And will die close to the 35. No timeouts for the Buckeyes. 1:23 to go. Braxton Miller, play fake. Deep in the pocket. And he's sacked for the third time. Shalik Calhoun, Max Bulla combining on the sack.
And here's a play where watch the coverage that Michigan State has. But what Michigan State coupled with this coverage was pressure at the quarterback. Pat Narduzzi, the defensive coordinator, said, I'm just going to go and force the issue with Braxton Miller. And it worked perfectly because Ohio State had a play-action pass on. So it took extra time for Braxton Miller to set up in the pocket. By the time he got there, he was met by Michigan State.
So a loss of 6, 2nd and 16. 40 seconds remaining in the first half. Miller, high snap handle. He'll run it. Here's Braxton Miller. And he'll get down at the 45. About a yard short of the first down on 2nd and 16.
My goodness, the plays he makes back there that we never talk about later. Just catching that football was terrific.
Third down, Miller handing it off to Hyde, and he'll pick up a first down.
Now they go fast. The chains have to be set. The clock stops to get them set. It's a mini timeout. Move to the line of scrimmage and see if he spikes it.
And he will. With 13 seconds to go.
Okay, so if you throw the ball here, you've got to have enough time to get to the line of scrimmage and spike it. So you got to have more than 2 seconds on the clock when you spike it in order for it to count.
2nd down and 10. Here's Miller to throw it. Winds up over the middle. It's tight end. Hireman down at the 10. 6 seconds on the clock.
So they're in good shape here because the clock stops to set the chains. Plenty of time for them to spike it.
And the Buckeyes spike the football with 4 seconds to go. And they'll bring on the field goal unit immediately.
Get those points. If that ball goes through the post, guess who runs to the locker room with momentum? Ohio State does. After a first half that was mostly Michigan State's way, Ohio State has to feel good about it. And guess who gets the ball to start the second half?
Drew Basil, the third-year starting place kicker, 8 of 9 on the season, as long as 45 yards.
Timeout.
And Michigan State.
Their third and final timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
So Hireman coming into this game, many people felt that the tight end would be a big issue for Michigan State.
Well, you're trying to avoid the corners, as we've discussed in the first half. So to avoid them, that means you've got to utilize the tight end in the slot, or take some of your better wide receivers and bring them back inside. Have them work against linebackers and safeties in order to increase your passing game. I think Tom Herman, the offensive coordinator for Ohio State, has made that adjustment tonight. Those corners are really good. So let's not beat your head against the wall. Denard and Waynes, okay, you guys are good. Let's check out Lewis, the safety, Drummond, the safety, and any of the linebackers. So far, that's where they've had their success throwing the football.
So Basil trying to cut the Michigan State lead to 7 from 28 yards away. And it's good. And that's the end of the first half with the score Michigan State 17, Ohio State 10. After a slow start led by Braxton Miller, the Buckeyes rally. Michigan State got off to that great start, their defense dominating, but later on in the second quarter, Ohio State managed to rally, and we have a 7-point game.
And what they also did, Michigan State, was that their offense controlled the football and controlled the clock, which made their defense stronger and kept Ohio State's explosive offense on the bench. But as you noted, once Ohio State got going because of Braxton Miller, things really took off for them. But to start this game, it was defense. It was Michigan State, the #1 defense in the country, that bottled up Braxton Miller and Carlos Hyde, their tailback, and made things very difficult. But then, as Mark D'Antonio told Christina Pinkett the half, it's the loose plays, the broken plays outside the pocket that hurt his team the most that Braxton Miller created. If you don't close the back gate, he's going to find the openings.
Ohio State won the opening toss. They deferred, so they'll receive to start the second half as Michigan State prepares to send it away. Kevin Muma kicking off for Michigan State. Hall and Wilson back deep. And Dontre Wilson will take a knee. Let's go downstairs to Erin Andrews.
Gus, thanks so much. I walked out of the locker room with Ohio State head coach Urban Meyer, and I asked him that first quarter, the penalties, what was going on. He said, awful, awful, uncharacteristic, don't like it, don't want to see it again. He also said he was very proud with the way this team was able to recover. Defensively, I asked him what they did. He said, we picked our head up. We started being mature. Here, Ohio State has the ball on the offense. He said, we're going to open it up in the second half, guys.
All right, Aaron, thank you very much. They'll start from their own 25-yard line. Braxton Miller rolling out of the pocket, throws on the run, incomplete. Jeff Hireman, closest man to the football.
And to what Aaron's talking about, if they're going to open things up, they still got to get, I believe, number 34, Carlos Hyde, involved running the football. They may do it in reverse by throwing it first and coming back to him running the ball inside. It's been difficult to find space against Michigan State's defense. And if they are opening it up, look for the slot receivers and tight end positions to have much more of an impact on the game.
Buckeyes have scored on 2 of their last 3 drives, a touchdown and a field goal. Second down and 10. And Hyde breaking through. Great run as he gets close to the 45. That's an 18-yard gain. Curtis Drummond brings him down. Remember, folks, for Ohio State, a win, and most likely they will head to the national championship in Pasadena. Michigan State jumping offside. Bulla, the middle linebacker, senior from Traverse City, heart and soul of this defense.
Speaking of uncharacteristic, he's a guy who's a finalist for the Campbell Trophy, which is the academic Heisman Award given by the National Football Foundation.
Offside. Defense, number 40, 5-yard penalty, first down.
As you take a look at the top 3 teams in the BCS.
And you mentioned those stakes. Auburn has already won. They're sitting back, really sitting at home right now saying pound green pound. Michigan State's tagline, they're rooting hard for the Spartans. That would open the door for them. As you noted, if Ohio State wins, they likely go.
First down and 5 at the 48. And Hyde again. And he'll get inside Michigan State territory. Carlos Hyde is an interesting story. Missed the first 3 games because he violated team rules. And according to Carlos, it really changed the way he approaches having the opportunity to play college football.
It goes back to what we all learn, right? You never know what you've really missed until it's taken away from you. And all of a sudden he looked up and he saw guys like Jordan Hall running for 159 yards against Buffalo and 168 against Cal with 3 touchdowns. And he rededicated himself, lost weight, about 20 pounds from last year. He's quicker, he's stronger, he's faster, and boy, has he had a monster year since he's returned.
10 carries, 61 yards. Here's Miller. He'll tuck it with daylight. Braxton Miller cuts it inside, still on his feet, and finally goes down at the Michigan State 23. A 24-yard gain. Curtis Drummond, Darquez Denard with the tackle.
Now watch, it's an inside play. Just waits for the blocking to form. Hireman, 86, 78, Norwell. And look at them. And then he just finds the gap and now puts on the moves. Drummond was able to cut him off and make him stop his feet a little bit and allow them to tackle him. but excellent blocking up front for Braxton Miller.
Miller has had runs of 48, 21, and 24 yards. And this is Carlos Hyde. He'll get inside the 20. Danico Sallin cuts him down. Braxton Miller, though, 11 carries, 98 yards. He's averaging 9 yards per carry.
Early in the game, Michigan State's offense had Ohio State's defense off balance. Things have flipped. Go back to the report Aaron Andrews gave us, where Urban Meyer said we're going to open things up. He's done it by throwing to the inside receivers a little more and also opened up the field some for Braxton Miller to run it, and Carlos Hyde's now become a factor.
Hyde, a receiver at the top of your screen. Here's Miller. Thought about running it, drops back. Near side, ball caught. Devin Smith. And he lost it out of bounds.
This is what Ohio State wants to do. They want to take the big strike downfield, but they will also have a check down out here if he doesn't have it. So watch Braxton Miller. He looks for the strike downfield to Philly Brown, doesn't have it, and they give him a natural check down to Devin Smith.
Now Miller running wide, turns the corner with a blocker. Touchdown, Ohio State. Braxton Miller, folks, single-handedly has taken over this game for the Buckeyes. And with 12:21 to go in the third, Ohio State with a chance to tie this thing up. Drew Basil for the tie. "17 straight points for Ohio State. And with 12:21 to go, the Buckeyes have tied this game up at 17 apiece because of the electric play of one Braxton Miller. Game tied at 17 apiece in the Big Ten Championship. Ohio State coming all the way back, led by this man, Braxton Miller. 12 carries, 106 yards, and a touchdown. His fourth straight rushing game of over 100 yards. As you take a look at the drive, 7 plays, 75, 239.
And what Michigan State needs right now is a drive similar to the one they had to open the game. They need something that's going to calm and settle their team down. If they go 3 and out and turn it right back over to Ohio State's offense, that's not a good thing because they've got them on the run right now.
Basil will send it away. Ellsworth and Shelton back deep. And this will be Shelton. Gets to the 20, goes outside, and finally chopped down as he crosses the 25-yard line. Game tied at 17. Michigan State with the football at their own 29. Play fake. Cook rolls out of the pocket with time and throws. Should be a first down as Benny Fowler makes the catch and is knocked out of bounds. Now let's go to Los Angeles for a Lowe's game break. Thank you very much, Jameis Winston, a Heisman frontrunner right now. I got a feeling that there's a player that wears number 5 on Ohio State that may be back on the ballot. Here's the inside handoff. Langford.
I don't think there's any question about that. The way he's playing tonight on the national stage, as other people have essentially played their way off the ballot, I think Braxton Miller's played his way on it in the last 5-6 games of the season, continuing to gain momentum. But right now, he's watching his defense go to work against a Michigan State team that desperately needs a drive to give their defense a little bit of a break.
MSU led 17-0 with 9:01 to go in the second quarter, but Miller brought them back. And they cut the deficit to 7 at the end of the first half and scored to start the second half to tie it up at 17. Here's the option. Cook. He'll pitch it. Langford got his shoulder pad square and gets to the 45. Let's go downstairs to Aaron Andrews.
Guys, just to add on what you guys were talking about with Braxton Miller and the Heisman talk, and talking to the Buckeyes offensive coordinator, Tom Herman, he told me he felt like the shell cracked. The pressure was off Braxton when he got hurt and he saw Kenny Guyton perform well. And Braxton thought, well, I'm hurt. I'm not going to be in the conversation at all. And my team is winning without me. And since then, he's played without any sort of pressure on him. So that maybe helps him, like Charles was saying.
And thank you, Aaron. 3rd down and 3 at the 47 for the Spartans. Cook out of the shotgun. Cook pumping over the middle, picked off. C.J. Barnett gobbled it up. And Ohio State forces a turnover with excellent field position. First turnover of the game.
Watch C.J. Barnett, the safety. He has eyes directly on Connor Cook, the quarterback. He's creeping in and never takes his eyes off the quarterback and just plays the football. Saw the quarterback. He never comes off the receiver. Barnett takes the ball away, puts Ohio State in business. And with this field position, Urban Meyer told our Aaron Andrews they're going to open it up. This is a prime spot on the field to run something big.
1st down and 10 at the Michigan State 48 for Ohio State. Carlos Hyde next to Braxton Miller. He gives it to him. Hyde, 1st down, Buckeyes. Isaiah Lewis, Twan Jones with the tackle. And there's an injured Spartan on the field.
It's like Marcus Rush, defensive end. But look at what Hyde does. There's a big hit on the side from Twan Jones, but he still finishes the run. It's a big man running the ball.
$17 apiece, 10:30 to go in the 3rd quarter. Ohio State with the 1st down and 10 at the Michigan State 37-yard line. Marcus Rush, the injured Spartan, walked off the field on his own.
You noted a while ago how Braxton Miller started to take over in this game, and guess who else is back involved?
Here's Miller to throw it. He'll fire in the end zone deep. Philly Brown knocked away at the end. Brown, the intended receiver. Terrific coverage. Curtis Drummond running stride for stride.
That was excellent coverage. Watch Drummond. He's back here having to play against a slot receiver. Ohio State trying to make hay against the safeties of Michigan State. And Drummond comes up with a terrific play over the top. No interference, plays the football at its highest, at its peak, and knocks it away.
First team all Big Ten Curtis Drummond last year against Ohio State. He picked off a Braxton Miller pass. Buckeyes won that game 17-16. 2nd and 10 at the 37. Miller running. And Miller tracked down. Very nice pursuit, Isaiah Lewis, after 5-yard gain.
What helped him was watch who Braxton Miller runs into. Carlos Hyde's not able to get out ahead of him in enough space. See that? And he ends up bumping him a little bit, but still, wonderful play by Isaiah Lewis, tracking it and making a nice tackle in the open field.
Brings up 3rd and 5 at the 32. Empty backfield for Miller.
And look at the bunch set to the wide side at the top.
Movement on the right side of the offensive line. And it looks like Taylor Decker, the right tackle.
False start. Offense. Number 68. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That set that we've seen, right, that we just saw right there with Carlos Hyde out there with the 2 receivers, we've seen it 2 or 3 times in this game, and they haven't effectively thrown it yet. It looks like a screen. You know what comes off of that? You slip the screen, and the guy goes downfield for the big shot. Just like in basketball, fake setting the screen, slip it, and going to the hoop. Look for that later on. Ohio State setting it up well.
Let's see if a screen and go is coming up for the Buckeyes. 3rd down and 10 at the 37. Here's Miller. He'll fire it. Looking for Devin Smith. Oh, incomplete. Smith had it, but Darquez Dennard denies him.
They threw into the no-fly zone. The All-American Dennard. Smith has a step. Ball could not be thrown any better, but how about Dennard? Sneaking a left arm in. Watch him. See him right there? Right into the pocket. And plays it as well as you can play it as a defensive back. You play through the arms of the receiver, pull them apart. They can't catch the ball.
But more importantly, Michigan State's defense comes up with a win as they win that small battle. This one popped high in the air, heading toward the end zone. And he'll be downed inside the 5. Michigan State backed up. 8:52 to play. 3rd quarter. We're tied at 17. So a 1st down and 10 for Michigan State at their own 4. Langford running right, and he'll be lucky if his forward progress gets him back to the line of scrimmage. Ohio State, this defensive line really shutting down the run for the Spartans.
And we're seeing them really man up here in this situation. 97, Joey Bosa. 63, Michael Bennett. 8, Noah Spence. 51, Joel Hale have done the bulk of the work up front for Ohio State tonight. 92, Adolphus Washington has come in, formerly a defensive end, playing a lot of defensive tackle now.
2nd and 9, Michigan State, 20 carries, only 23 yards tonight. Here's Connor Cook passing out of his own end zone. Tough throw, and incomplete. McGarrett Kings couldn't get a foot in bounds, and that brings up 3rd and long.
And the field judge Joel Clay and the line judge John Quinn all over this play. There's the catch. Oh boy. Now at the end, he doesn't keep the football. So it's an incomplete pass because he does complete the process. He drags the toe, yes. But see how the ball pops free from his hands? He did not complete the process of the catch, thus the incompletion.
3rd down and 9 at the 5. Michigan State 2 of 8 on 3rd down conversions. Cook in the shotgun. Empty backfield. He'll sprint out. Throws. And he just throws this one out of play. Joey Bosa with pressure on him again.
How many times have you said that tonight? Numerous. Joey Bosa's playing a terrific game. A true freshman from Fort Lauderdale. Watch 97. They've had a tough time dealing with him all evening. As Flo goes away, he just defeats the block by the tight end, 82, Josiah Price, and gets in the face of Cook and forces the incompletion. Ohio State should have terrific field position after this punt.
So Mike Sadler will punt deep in his own end zone. His career-long 70 yards versus Ohio State last year. He could use it now. Corey Brown back deep. Brown will get a shot. Backpedaling from the 45. Philly Brown bottled up, turns a corner, and out of bounds. But he goes out of bounds inside Michigan State territory. A 50-yard punt and an 11-yard return.
Gus, the offensive line for Ohio State was a story coming in. Marcus Hall not getting the start after getting in trouble at Michigan. According to our Aaron Andrews, he's only played 1 series tonight. Pat Elflein has carried the bulk of the game.
Carlos Hyde with daylight. Hyde still running, uses his power, and out of bounds. Isaiah Lewis and Hyde tying up, but Hyde showing some emotion.
You want to be a defender? Carlos Hyde rumbling. Isaiah Lewis up for the challenge. Does a nice job, but the big man is well downfield before the contact is made.
So far tonight, Hyde 13 carries, 85 yards. He just gained 10. 1st and 10 at the 34. Miller. He'll run it with blockers. And goes down. Braxton Miller picks up 7.
And right now, I think Urban Meyer's on his headset telling Tom Herman, his offensive coordinator, I want to see 2 people touching the ball in the run game. And I want to keep running the football. I want to see 34 touch it. I want to see 5 touch it. If anyone else touches it, you're going to have to talk to me later. That's my sense of Urban Meyer in the headset right now with his offensive coordinator. They're starting to really get a rhythm, and the offensive line is gaining an advantage.
Jordan Hall now checks in at tailback. Here's Miller giving it up to Hall. 1st down. And Jordan Hall says, hey, wait a minute, Charles Davis. I can run the rock too. Tell the coaches to give it to me. I'll pick up 13 for you.
And Carlos Hyde saying, I softened him up for you, big boy. And I'm coming back out here to try and get the payoff. They have got it going, and that big offensive line has really taken charge of the line of scrimmage, something that does not happen against Michigan State. Right in the middle, Corey Lindsley, 71, setting the tone.
1st down and 10 at the State 14. The Buckeyes have found their rhythm. Hyde hops through the hole and almost popped it free.
And I think this is one of those psychological drives right now for Ohio State. They would like to take this football and put it in the end zone, obviously, but they want to do it running it, because running it does more damage to the psyche of a defense than throwing it.
2nd down and 2. Braxton Miller. And it looks like the officials haven't signaled, but they're bringing out the field goal, the extra point unit. Looks like a touchdown.
I have not seen one of these plays where I never see a signal from an official. He's in, clearly. But I'm with you, partner. I never saw anyone throw their hands up and say touchdown.
2nd touchdown of the evening for Braxton Miller. And Basil in for the extra point, and it's good. Braxton Miller gives Ohio State a 24-17 lead. Their first lead of the game. R.J. Shelton will take a knee in the end zone, and the Spartans will start at the 25. Good State. Cook handing it off. Langford with some running room, breaking tackles, cuts it inside. Watch out! Langford. Beautiful run as he gets down inside the Ohio State 40. A 35-yard scamper.
Watch how they make their move. Left side of the line blocks down, and he slips through. One missed tackle there. Now there's a chance in the open field, misses a second one, and scampers downfield.
Cook looking deep. Incomplete. No flag on the play. Burbridge, the intended receiver. Cook sprints out, shovel pass. Kings looking for the first down, and he won't get it. Shazier.
Decision time now for D'Antonio, too. He wants to look and see how far it is. Good play there, but right there when he runs into Dan France, his offensive lineman, that killed his opportunity to get the first down.
Here's the option. Oh, Cook keeps it and picks up a first down. How often do you see that? Connor Cook, not known as a runner, but he ate it that time and got the first down.
And this is something we saw earlier in the game, was their option play, and they come back with it. And as you noted, a good fake on Joey Bosa, 97. Watch right here. See how he faked it? And Bosa widens just enough to give Cook the crease, and then he pounds it in there for the first down. Mark D'Antonio, pound green pound. That's their motto. Trying to find those inches that they didn't get in last year's season that was 7-6.
We got 6 yards on 4th and 2. First down at the Ohio State 27. Play action. Cook looks backside. He finds Gleichert, and Gleichert gets clobbered. Adolphus Washington. He'll pay the price for the big hit.
I like the call, but I'm not sure Gleichert's the guy to do that play with, only because of his ability to really move it downfield. This play has to be perfectly blocked for Gleichert to turn it into something big. Well conceived, but once someone slips it, Gleichert's not going to slip them. And Adolphus Washington, as you noted, from inside out, drops the shoulder for the big pop into Gleichert.
2nd and 10. Cook rolls out, tries to set up. Bosa there. Cook tipped and incomplete. Roby got a hand on the football. He comes down and grabs his left knee. Shazier there as well.
And Bradley Roby made the play before he made the second play. What I mean by that is he took away the pass play for Connor Cook. That forced him to scramble. Joey Bosa in hot pursuit. 97 with the pressure. Watch Roby, number 1, to the left side of your screen. Burbridge is trying to run the out route. That's taken away. Now Cook makes a bad decision with Bosa draped on him to try and force it into Burbridge. He is extremely fortunate that Shazier didn't pick it off or Roby didn't pick it off. That's one that his coaches would say, that's not where we want to throw the football. Sometimes you have to take your medicine and eat it and keep possession. They got Reeves in the slot, though, defending.
3rd down and 10. Cook over the middle. Incomplete. Intended for Price.
In a game like this, that's one that Josiah Price is going to want back, but you don't get a second shot on that type of a play. It appeared on first blush to be well thrown by Cook, and Price has to possess that football to give them an opportunity. That appeared to be a strong missed opportunity for Michigan State.
So Michael Geiger in to attempt a 44-yarder. He's been good from 40 tonight. Sadler the holder. Clean snap, good hold. It's up. Does it have enough? Yes, it does. 3 points for Michigan State. 2:29 to go, third quarter. 4-point game. Gus Johnson along with Charles Davis, Christina Pink, and Aaron Andrews here in Indy.
Don't run out too quick if you're Ohio State's front line.
Dontre Wilson from his own goal line. And he'll be wrapped up at the 20. First down and 10 at the 21. Miller, Philly Brown. And nice open field tackle by Isaiah Lewis. And talking about running the football, Ohio State comes into this game 6th in total offense in the country, 2nd in rushing at 321 per game. Tonight, Carlos Hyde has rushed for 93 yards on 14 carries. Braxton Miller, 124 yards on 15 carries.
Sound familiar, and we're still in the third quarter. Normal Ohio State production.
2nd and 7. Hyde with an opening and a first down as he gets to the 35. Curtis Drummond with the tackle. 15 carries, 105 yards now for Carlos Hyde.
And look what the offensive line is doing. You hear the term imposing their will on someone? It's exactly what's happened with the big offensive line for Ohio State. And there's Elflein, number 65, who's gone almost the whole way. Decker, who was the new starter this year at right tackle. Everyone else experienced and strong. And they're playing better and better as this game goes on.
8 consecutive 100-yard games for Carlos Hyde. He's gone over the 3,000-yard mark in his Ohio State career. Miller gets out of the pocket, throws up and incomplete. That one sailed on him a bit, intended for Philly Brown.
That was almost like a pitcher picking up a slow roller to the mound and having too much time and not putting enough on it. Released it too high, and as you noted, it sailed.
Hyde running. This time, oh, look at the leg turn. His legs just turning over and over. That's what they like about Carlos Hyde. He's had some great runs this year, but they think that a 3-yard run against Illinois was his best of the season.
Precisely the reason we're seeing picking up yardage people don't think is there. And now he goes off the field on a big third down.
Gain of 6 there. 3rd down and 4 at the 42. Empty backfield.
In empty backfield, you've got to think to yourself, Braxton Miller with some type of a quarterback run.
Jordan Hall lines up with him. Miller keeps it, and he won't get it. Michigan State's D right there. Ed Davis has been awesome tonight. He's sacked the quarterback, he's pressured the quarterback, and he's come up with some very quality tackles.
His breakout game this year was against Michigan, 2.5 sacks. Been a 3rd down player. Watch him on the field here. Plays forced by Denikos Allen, number 28, the outside linebacker, 2nd team All Big Ten, and upset about that. He forced the play and opened it up for Ed Davis to finish it off.
And that'll take us to the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. The number 2 team in the nation, the Ohio State Buckeyes, lead the Michigan State Spartans 24. Start this 4th quarter. Cameron Johnston will punt it away. And he got off another nice punt. King signaling for the fair catch and has it at the 10-yard line. A 48-yard punt. So Connor Cook down by 4 to start the 4th. And he was very poised in the first half. It's been a different situation for him in the second half. Ohio State, it seems like they've changed things up on defense, and it's confused them just a tad bit.
I think what's happened is we look at the ball control, because remember early in the game how Michigan State had a huge advantage in time of possession? We're relatively even now. But I think to your point, Gus, Ohio State's pressure has gotten there, and their coverage has gotten tighter on the receivers.
First down and 10. Cook to throw on first down off his back foot. Nicely done as Benny Fowler comes up with the grab. Let's go downstairs to Pink.
Gus, an update on injured Spartan Dan France, taken back to the locker room with an injury to his left ankle. Did not look good, could not put any pressure on it. They took him back in a cart. They are doing x-rays, and he will likely not return.
And France is starting right guard.
That's where their depth comes into play. Throughout the season, Michigan State, Christine, has played 8 offensive linemen. So they have a lot of guys who are comfortable out on the field. Looks like Travis Jackson, number 63, has moved into the right guard spot with Jack Allen, number 66. There, still at center. And Bradley Roby has not been back on the field for Ohio State.
Here's Cook. He'll loft one. Nice throw. And it's caught. Kings crops it back. Flag on the play. Kings down at the Ohio State 22.
I think they're going to get Lippett for a block downfield, but the play's going to stand. They'll just bring the ball back from this point of the foul, I believe.
It's a 56-yard gain.
Yeah, those are back-to-back big league throws by Connor Cook.
During the run, illegal block on the back by the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, Michigan State.
I think it's against Tony Lippett downfield. Look at Connor Cook orchestrating. Gets the receiver, McGarrett Kings Jr. into the right spot. Gets the play initiated, and how about this throw? Over the top of C.J. Barnett and into the waiting arms of Kings. And right there, right in front, right there, 14 Lippett barely gets his hands on him. That's one I'd have a tough time swallowing if I'm Michigan State.
First down, though, for the Spartans at the 40 of Ohio State. Cook again over the middle. Kings in heavy traffic makes the grab. C.J. Barnett brings him down. Turned a lot of heads. 2nd and 3. Here's Cook. Will hand it off. This time it's Shelton. Flag on the play. R.J. Shelton around the corner.
Offside. Defense, number 37. The penalty is declined. The play results in a first down.
Joshua Perry called for offside.
There's Perry into the neutral zone. Right now, I think Michigan State has a little bit of an advantage in terms of vitality on this drive against Ohio State. They look a little bit slower through the Buckeyes, getting into stances and ready to go.
Let's see if they take a shot here. First down and 10. Cook hit as he throws. Incomplete. Benny Fowler at his fingertips on the football. Connor Cook doing a nice job of standing in under all the heat, because that pocket just broke down on him.
You had it diagnosed. They wanted to take that shot, but the pressure from Ohio State and good coverage by Duran Grant. But here's the pressure right in his face. Washington putting it on Connor Cook and forcing him to get rid of it before he could fully get set.
2nd down and 10 at the 26. Roby trying to loosen that leg up on the Ohio State sideline. Cook. He'll take a shot this time. Incomplete and a flag. Duran Grant again called for pass interference. Tony Lippett, the intended receiver.
When the defensive back's back is away from the quarterback and cannot see, receivers considered open.
Pass interference. Defense, number 12. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Never got his head back around to play the ball and had his hands on him through the entire route. If he just keeps his face into Lippett and never turns around but doesn't touch him, there's no interference, there's no penalty. But he had his hands on him the whole way. An easy call for the officials.
3rd pass interference penalty against Ohio State tonight. Langford, the single setback. Here's Cook. Play fake. Cook with time. Wide open. Touchdown Spartans. Josiah Price
Now this is well conceived because Josiah Price, I believe, is right in here. Watch him. He just kind of gets lost against the grain and slips through and gets behind the Ohio State defense. All flow to the right. He moves left, and Cook finds him for a touchdown.
And after last week's game against Michigan, Urban Meyer said he was going to fix some of the problems on defense, but those are the same kind of throwbacks that the Wolverines used against the Buckeyes, and right now it's paying big dividends for little brother. (27-24), Michigan State leading Ohio State with 11:41 to play in the fourth quarter of the Big Ten Championship, and they'll kick it short. Loose ball, and it looks like Ohio State will have it.
Fortunate, too. What a kick. Absolutely perfectly placed in Ohio State's hustle. A little bit of panic hustle. And let's see how we've gotten to this stage here in the second half. Ohio State came out smoking. Carlos Hyde, Braxton Miller, ground and pound, and the Buckeyes took their first lead of the night. But Connor Cook, well, defense played into it too with Ohio State, helping them gain that lead. But Connor Cook got it back for Michigan State, the quarterback, with Josiah Price in the end zone. And the Spartans now lead by 3 here in the fourth quarter.
Second lead change in this game. So Braxton Miller will start with good field position at his own 41. Miller elects to run it. Tries to get outside, but will not. Goes down at the line of scrimmage.
And no flag.
Braxton Miller, 2 of 6 for 14 yards passing in the second half. He's faced with a 3rd and 6. Here's Miller. Drills it. Incomplete. Evan Spencer couldn't hold on.
Guess who? No fly zone. Looked like Darqueze Dennard, number 31. Watch, it's delivered well. Miller steps into the throw, and he is on target. But look at the play made by Dennard, who comes up through the hands of Spencer after he catches the football and knocks it away. That's why he's the leading contender for the Jim Thorpe Award, one of the top 2 cornerbacks in the country, Darqueze Dennard.
7th punt of the night for Cameron Johnston from the 30. McGarrett Kings has it at his own 10. A 45-yard punt. Bradley Roby back in after injuring his leg. First down. Cook. And he'll drop it off to Langford. Langford breaking tackles and finally wrestled down by Adolphus Washington. Lippett trying to get lined up. He does at the top of your screen. Cook over the middle, caught, first down. Benny Fowler found a soft spot. He gained 6 yards and a first down for the Spartans.
Nice call by Dave Warner, the offensive coordinator at Michigan State. They out-tempoed Ohio State. Looked like they were getting ready to gear up for a big 3rd down play. He didn't give them time to get set. It really almost didn't matter what he called. They beat him to the punch by beating him by getting lined up quickly.
Cook to throw it on first down. Pump fake. He'll loft it in the air. And incomplete. Intended for Benny Fowler. He actually was run out of bounds. Duran Grant covered. 3rd down and 7 at the 28. Langford lines up next to Cook. Cook looking, incomplete. Ohio State brought pressure, rattling Connor Cook a bit, and the Spartans will have to punt it away.
Also had a good double team in the secondary. Tyvis Powell and Duran Grant had the receiver sandwiched. So good pressure up front, helping out the back end with good coverage.
So Mike Sadler comes in to punt.
Bradley Roby has 3 block punts in his career, 2 of them this season.
Philly Brown back deep at the 35. for Ohio State. Sadler from his own 14. Good snap. And it's blocked! Buckeyes get a hand on it. It may have been Shazier, their leader, their captain.
It wasn't Bradley Roby, but the punt was still blocked. Ohio State blocked one last year in their game against Michigan State and won by 1. And you called it correctly. Ryan Shazier, number 2, right over the shield. Gets enough push to knock number 97 from Michigan State, Mark Scarpinato, their defensive tackle, back and get a hand on the football.
Mark Scarpinato is 6'3", 286 pounds. Now Braxton Miller runs it. Just an amazing play by Ryan Shazier to block that punt.
Quick question, partner. In the game of football, should a number 2 ever knock over a number 97?
Not normally.
But with the force Shazier was bringing at 230 pounds and had leverage with that run, he packed the wallop, didn't he?
Yes, he did. 2nd and 6, but can Ohio State pay it off? Down 27-24. Miller. Carlos Hyde. Will jitterbug through the hole. Stopped by DeNico Allen after a 3-yard gain. Ohio State 1 of 8 on 3rd down conversions, facing a 3rd and 3 at the Michigan State 40. Braxton Miller has been great with his legs.
Empty set again.
He's rushed for 128 yards. Miller takes off. And Miller knocked backwards. He won't get it. Makijah Reynolds getting to him first.
They've really got a bead on the play calling a little bit here. I'm talking about Michigan State. Because whenever they see empty set, their first move is Braxton Miller running the football. Draw or quarterback power run. And Michigan State has defended it better as this game has gone on.
So that brings up 4th down and about a 1.5 yards. Buckeyes look like they'll go for it, but they'll talk about it first. Urban Meyer. Will he roll the dice? Title. Right now, Ohio State faced with a 4th down and a 1.5 yards. Carlos Hyde in the backfield.
If I'm Michigan State, I blitz inside to try and plug the run hole.
4th down. Here's Braxton Miller. And he won't get it. What a play. DeNico Allen.
DeNico Allen, the outside linebacker, forces the play, but fights off the block from Jeff Hireman, the tight end, and gets outside. Hireman's got to make that block in order for Hyde to turn upfield. He got his block. If Hireman makes the block there, I think it's a 1st down. There's Pat Narduzzi, who's come down out of the booth here in the 4th quarter for Michigan State. Had the right call on. They plugged the inside with guys in the gaps, and DeNico Allen makes a Superman play on the edge.
So the Michigan State defense, the heart and soul of this team, standing up strong and tall to give their offense a football. Langford breaks it outside. Langford with speed and out of bounds at the Ohio State 45. C.J. Barnett runs him out of bounds after the 16-yard gain.
How about the way they controlled the edge? Talking about Michigan State's offensive line, tight ends, controlled the edge at the point of attack and gave Langford the avenue to the corner. How about those big guys up front? See Pinotti, 51, 54, Connor Cruz in the game.
Will he get another chance is the question. 1st down at the 45. Langford. And Langford taken down by Joel Hale.
This was the game that Auburn, after their win today, was targeting. And right now, Michigan State is giving them hope.
2nd down and 10. Cook underneath and caught at the 40-yard line by Kings. a 6-yard gain on 2nd and 10. Tyvis Powell makes the tackle.
Couldn't be a more critical 3rd and 4 in this football game. If Connor Cook has to get flushed, must be willing to run as he did on the option earlier today.
3rd down for the 39. Cook to throw it. Sideline. Ball caught. Looks like enough for a first down as Lippett makes the grab.
And you know why they got the completion? Because Tony Lippett ran a physical route. Watch him at the top, number 14 in green, against Duran Grant. Grant tries to put his hands on him. Lippett pushes off of him to gain the distance. What the official said is it's just like your kids. Put them in the backyard. You two settle it. And Lippett settled it for a first down.
And how about Connor Cook? What a time to come up with your career high. He's thrown for 304 yards and 3 scores.
The previous play is under further review. The ruling on the field is that the runner gained a first down.
So they're going to take a look at the spot.
After further review, the play stands as called on the field. First down.
Thank you, Mike. So on 3rd and 4, the Spartans get 5, but more importantly, a fresh set of downs. Connor Cook, young man, has played his heart out tonight.
The run game has not been dominant for Michigan State, so they've substituted Connor Cook's arm with some short passes to supplement that.
From the 34. And they'll hand it off. Langford going outside. Langford just running guys over. Ooh. Nasty. Shazier finally making the tackle after Langford broke the tackle from Duran Grant. 21 carries, 90 yards for Jeremy Langford. 2nd and 2 at the 26. Lippett in motion. They'll give it straight ahead. Langford still running. Touchdown, Spartans. Jeremy Langford becomes the first 100-yard rusher against Ohio State this year. 22 carries, 117 yards. And the extra point is good. 2:16 to play. Spartans 34, Ohio State 24.
They go heavy. Fullback Pendleton. Big tight end Dennis, number 94. But watch how well this is blocked at the point of attack. Look at this. Look at that hole. Right there. Treadwell 64. Dennis 94. Right in the middle. And then off he goes to the races. You also had 63, Travis Jackson. Creates the gap. This is what coaches say. Offensive line, get the runner to the second level by the linebackers. Then let his recruiting take over.
Mark D'Antonio celebrating on the Spartan sideline. They're 2:16 away from heading to Pasadena to play in the Rose Bowl. Different emotions for Urban Meyer. Michigan State scored the first 17, Ohio State the next 24. And the Spartans score 17 cents. Wilson. And Dontre Wilson finally taken down as he crosses the 30-yard line with 2:08 to go. Ohio State with 2 timeouts left. First down and 10 of the 34. Braxton Miller under pressure. Miller elects to run it. And he'll get out of bounds at the 45.
Calhoun ran right out of his shoe. He'll have to come off the field.
First down and 10 at the 46. Miller winds up and incomplete. Intended for Devin Smith.
Had the wrong 8. That was Denikos Allen who ran out of his shoe. Calhoun in on the last play. Right now you want quickness and speed on the field if you're Michigan State. Rush the passer, cover downfield. Good coverage by Denard. Going to make it a difficult throw. He's going to have to be perfect to complete that one.
Braxton Miller with time. Miller lets it go. And incomplete, intended for Evan Spencer. Ohio State with 2 timeouts. Down by 10 points. Braxton Miller in trouble. Miller lets it go down the field for Philly Brown, incomplete. And that'll bring up 4th down and long. So 4th down and 10 at the 46 for Braxton Miller. Here's Miller to throw it. Incomplete. And the Buckeyes turn it over on down. And the Spartans are 1 minute and 13 away from Pasadena. Langford again. And he'll dive forward to the Ohio State 35. Looks like a first down. And it is a first down. And that may do it. The Michigan State Spartans came into this game saying in order to be the best, you gotta beat the best. They welcome the challenge of playing the number 2 team in the nation, Ohio State, winners of 24 in a row. The Buckeyes 1 win away from playing for the national championship. Urban Meyer, he's been brilliant in Columbus. But tonight, this Michigan State team playing with passion and determination, along with a whole lot of toughness.
Please put the game clock at 35 seconds, the play clock at 25 seconds.
Michigan State in the victory formation. Connor Cook takes a knee, and that will do it. The Michigan State Spartans defeat Ohio State 34-24, snapping the Buckeyes' 24-game winning streak, ending their hopes of a national championship. Michigan State will head to Pasadena for the first time in over 25 years and take on Stanford in the Rose Bowl. Your national championship looks to be set. Florida State, Auburn for all the money. (34-24) the final. Michigan State winning their first Big Ten championship, and down on the field is our Christina Pink.
Thanks, Gus. Here with Jeremy Langford, and everything is coming up roses for you. How does it feel to send this team to the Rose Bowl for the first time in 26 years?
I feel great. That's been one of our goals since the beginning of the season, and we just accomplished goal by goal, and now we made it. Now we're excited. Happy to play the game, try to get that dub.
Your motto all season was chase it. Your touchdown late in the fourth quarter really sealed the victory for them. Tell me how you found that daylight there.
That's just Michigan State football. We played 4 quarters, and we grind throughout the game. It wasn't looking that good in the beginning of the game, but we finished. We played Michigan State football, pound green pound.
Well, the Michigan State football team is now the Big Ten champions, knocking off Ohio State, who was previously undefeated. What really got you guys moving tonight, especially on offense?
It's just playing like it's any other game. And, you know, teams been overlooking us, and we just play Michigan State football again. We play with a chip on our shoulder, and we play all 4 quarters and keep grinding.
All right, congrats on the win, Jeremy.
All right, thank you.